Everyone, Bob Stafford here, Traymaster Bob, and today in part 4 of our Atlantic Hosiery building series, we're going to start working on the warehouse for the back. Now, my experience looking at a lot of hosiery mills, most of the hosiery mills, the warehouse come off the back, single story back here. It was designed for trucks, okay, not for railroad cars, for trucks. The mills got their stuff in, got the local freight house and LCL shipments. Then they were moved via drayage up to the mills. And same thing, outbound things were trucked via drayage down to the local freight house, and then they were shipped out as LCL shipments way back in the day. Well, this being a model railroad, of course, we got to have some spot to put our freight cars at, because, of course, we have to spot box cars here. We need to have a addition on the back that's at least big enough to spot a 40-foot box car out, right, people? So, anyways, I'm just going to take the warehouse part from the Walters kit here. Beginning to put together the warehouse addition to the back of the building, basically just using the stock sides, one in from the Walters kit. What I've done is, notice the pilster here, I've cut it off of this end here, and I put a 1/8 inch square brace on the end here. It's basswood. I didn't have any evergreen styrene, so I used that. And then using the Bachman clamps here, got a corner together. And I made my own braces to put in here. And it's very, very simple. Just take a piece of scrap. I just take a piece of scrap in this case. I think it's 20 thousandths. And I mark squares on it. And then I will cut each of these out, and then I'll make a diagonal cut across here, and this right here gives me 2 square corners, and those 2 square corners become a brace in the corner here at a 90-degree angle to back up these corners. That's my way of doing that. Okay, I modified the end to go into here. I had to make it smaller. And just give a comparison. Here's the stock end as it comes out of the kit. And here's what it looks like now. You can see the difference now. And basically what I did is just follow the ridge lines here and cut them off here, and the same thing I cut along here and over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this in here like this. Makes it the same width as the other end. And we'll clamp it in place. The adhesive I'm going to use is Typon Quick and Thick. I bought this at the hardware store. Multi-surface glue. I found it's good for applying like wood against the plastic or wood against metal and model applications. I like it and I recommend it. Take my glue and I just put onto a 3x5 file card. The top off. Here we go. Guess I should have left this sit upside down for a little bit. Okay, put some on the file card. I use a micro brush and I'm going to apply the glue over here to the inside of this. I like about this too, it's thick, it's not running like Elmer's glue is. Okay, make sure we got plenty of glue in there. Alright, and next we're just going to put our wall in here. Spread this out a little bit. That corner in here, this corner over here. And next we're going to clamp it in place. Use bar clamps here. Okay, it's nice and tight. And we got a second one to put on the bottom. And then we'll just let this sit and we'll let it dry. Once I got the bottom bar clamp on, I moved the top one up a little bit. Give me better support from where it was at. And there's a little bow in this, which means I got them nice and tight. And once I release the clamps after the glue's dry, it'll straighten itself out, and then we'll go on to the roof. Well, it's time now to attach the warehouse to the main building. Again, we're going to use our Typon glue here. And take our mini brush. Just remember, on the back side here we had the 1/8 square I'm going to just take this, I'm going to put it over top of that basswood. This stuff is so nice and thick to work with. Glue away from the edge here. I don't want it to come out. Okay. And the next step's going to be to attach this together. Very slowly, very carefully bring it in to where we want it. There we go. And then for weights, if you know anybody on your local section crew in the railroad, ask them for some Pantel clips. I think the guys gave me 8 of them. Spray painted in black, and they make great weights. To hold things in place while you're working on them, so put one in the front, one in the back, push this in nice and tight. Check our alignment here a little bit. Go. Things down. Alrighty, we'll let this sit and dry. To cut my notches out for the roof, I've marked across here where my notches are going to go, and they're 1/16 of an inch deep. I've marked here with 1/16 of an inch deep. Now, my way of doing this is I like to use a square, keep myself nice and straight here, with a sharp X-Acto number 11 blade. I work my way all the way through. Now that I've got my 2 lines scribed cut out here, just take my square, my 1/16 of an inch line here, line up with the other mark, and I'm going to scribe this. Scribe it down a few times, get it in there deep, and easy to go through. Okay, to build the roof to go across here, just going to use a piece of evergreen 40/1000 inch styrene, and we're going to cut a piece that's 2.5 inches by 8 9/16 to fit in here. Again, simple. I like to not use the edge. I'll come in here, come in on the 2-inch mark, mark it at the 4.5 inch mark, both ends. Line a ruler up on the marks. And I got a 12-inch long piece here. My ruler's lined up on the marks. I'm just going to make several passes. Again with my knife. Get a nice scribe in here. Do it, and we just going to bend and snap. And we've got ourselves a piece of styrene 2.5 inches wide, 12 inches long. And then next we're going to mark out our 8 9/16. our X-Acto square. Again, we're going to scribe and bend. And we've got ourselves another roof piece. To cut my notches out for the roof, I've marked across here where my notches are going to go, and they're 1/16 of an inch deep. I've marked here with 1/16 of an inch deep. Roof all notched out. Well, as I fill that in, I normally like to use Tamiya putty or even testers. But our local hobby shop that carried all these supplies went out of business when the owner of the strip mall jacked them all rental prices up to the point where he couldn't afford to pay the rent and stay in business. So we lost our local supplier of a lot of scratch building materials. And I didn't have any putty on hand, so I just made my own to get by. I gotta get used to starting to mail order basic supplies. I used to be able to just go buy when I needed them. We have our strips all cut out of our construction paper. We've run the sandpaper across them and roughed up the texture a little bit, which made the brown bleed through. And now we're going to go put them on the roof. Okay, to attach to the roof, go back to my good old Type-On Quick and Thick multi-surface glue. Other glues work. Arlene's will work. A lot of people use that. This is just a good glue for attaching to two different kinds of surfaces. It's nice and thick, it doesn't run. Put it on there. Use my finger and spread it out. Get it thin enough so I can see my lines. There we go. See my lines now. Keep a paper towel handy to wipe that glue off. And now we're going to begin putting it on. Okay, I didn't think about this, but I got this up here. The pillars are sticking out. I got to put a little notch in there. So just go ahead and we'll mark it with a pencil. Put a little notch in here. And we'll try again. Yep, looks like we've got it better now. Come across. Up the end of the roof. This is beyond the end there, so I'm going to let this dry before I cut it. Make sure everything's down. Do our next layer. Follow our lines. Over here we're going to have to cut it to fit. Push it down tight. Cut. Fit. Go. again, need a little more glue in there. Just glue over, get in place. Let's see if I need a little more glue up here. At the end, get a piece in place, and I'll just go ahead and you get the idea, you get the gist of it. I'll go ahead and we'll glue the rest of this roof together, and I'll show you my end result. I finished putting the roof on the warehouse portion of Atlantic Hosiery. I purposely on this side left two sides here that I did not take sandpaper to on purpose. Looked like it was a roof patch job over the years. And while I was at it, I also took some burnt orange paint here, Americana paint, and I did the ends here. There you have the appearance of tiles. So I put them on there to look like clay tiles. And now we're going to go on to our next step. Okay, next step is we're going to take my jar here. I've made this a while back. It's black acrylic paint with a little bit of gray put in there. Give me a weathering color. Just a nice thin water wash. And I'll just use that to come down and across the roof. Okay, we've all seen people do this before, so anyways, you know, just it's all to it, there is to it. Go ahead and do this. And I'm also, the reason I got this done was so I could do this. At the same time I was doing my roof. This will just help blend everything together. You can see right there. And we'll go finish this and we'll go look at the finished results. Thought I'd show here that the difference in the roof. This is where I put the black wash down on this side, and I've done nothing on this side over here. And you can see the difference, how the wash just sort of pulls everything together. It just gives it that dirty look. And the other thing I did while I was out on the other side over here, and on the other side of the roof, I just made this patch here, just to give the building some character. Also just trying to give the idea that this is not a new building. It's been probably, by now it's probably been around 60 years. So we're trying to show some age on the building, some proof that things have been replaced and repaired over the years. Okay, my black wash is dried on the roof here, and my next step is going to be to take my Bragdon weathering powders here, and we're going to just put a few grays, maybe a little bit of black or brown on here, and just put some streaking from the effects of the water running down the roof, and then we'll call it good. For this I'm using a soft brush. I also have hard brushes I use. I don't want to overdo this. I just want some subtleness here, that's all. Oops, even that's too much. Try to mix it out a little bit, there we go. See if we can wipe a little bit of that off. Sometimes it'll come off. Touch of brown. And we get more brown up in the corners here. For my taste, I think that's sufficient. Don't want to overweather this building. It's been a well-maintained building for the last 60, 70 years, whatever. They're making money. The business hasn't gone to China yet, and all is good. And now we're going to go do the other side the same way. Gray first. Tap out what we can. This side, just lightly do some. Dark gray is the lighter gray. Lighter gray shows up better. There we go. A couple streaks of the darker gray. Heck of it. Now we'll go back and put some brown in here. Brown along the edges. Darker. I did it this side on the other side. Forgot to do it over here on the other side. And we'll do a little more here. There we go. Some browns as we come down here. I think that's good. Last step is to take fan brush. Just sort of mix everything in together. Okay, that finishes our roof. And now we're going to move on to putting our foundation in on the next video. And also doing the finishing detail work. It's Bob, and thank you for watching. If you found this video anyway helpful or useful, please share it with your friends, and remember to subscribe to the channel and to give the video a like. It would be greatly appreciated, and we'll see you in the next video in this series.